Hello, welcome back to my channel. We're going to work on an art journal page today, and I'm glad you're here. So I'm trying to finish this art journal, and I have very few pages left. So I am really going to focus on this in the next few weeks. Opening up the journal so it lays flat, okay? And I'm going to go to this page where it doesn't have such a gap, because this layout is just going to be on one side here. I'll show you my inspiration. I was looking through some old paperwork this last week, and I keep a file folder of inspiration for cards or art journaling or things that just inspire me, obviously, for me to do some other creative work. Well, this is a card that I saved called Dragonflies and Daisies, how appropriate. And it has some really cool techniques in it. And I was trying to find the date, but I'm not going to be able to find that. It's not listed on any of these pages that I ripped out of a magazine, obviously. But it's from a magazine that's called Craft Stamper, and this no longer around. Unfortunately, it didn't make it. So I'm guessing this was pulled out of a magazine probably pre-COVID. So let's say maybe 2018 or so. I'm just guessing. But I kept it in my stash, and when I pulled it out, I ripped out all the instructions, and it's got some really great dragonflies, some great colored pencil technique, and like I said, it was done on a card, and I'm going to do it in an art journal page. So stick around with me. We're going to do it my way, of course. This is just inspiration, and we'll see how close we get from how it looks at the end, from how it looks now to how mine looks at the end, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is I pulled out a dragonfly stamp, and I pulled out a leaf stencil that I had in my stash, because reading the directions, that's how they worked on this piece. And they started out stamping the dragonflies, and I am going to also do that. I'm going to work on this piece of watercolor paper, and they are working on some lightly sanded paper that is, the paper is a Coordinations Craft Core cardstock in antique linen. So I don't have that. I may have some downstairs, but I'm going to just go with this piece of textured watercolor paper, and I'm not going to worry about sanding it. I'm going to see if I can get maybe somehow the same effect. So I'm going to leave my inspiration to the side here. Like I said, I pulled a few things. The stamp I'm going to go with is this dragonfly stamp here, and I'm just going to stamp it around my page here, and I'm going to use archival ink, and I'm going to try and get a good stamped image. And if I don't, because sometimes it's hard to stamp real clearly on watercolor paper, I do have a micron pen here setting aside. But let's see what we can do. Just go ahead and get started. I'm going to leave that ink on the paper for a few minutes, and I'm pressing down medium pressure, and I'm letting that ink go into the paper. Let's see. Pretty good. I can live with that, right? So I'm going to do it again. This is an art journal page, remember. No need to get precious with it. Stamping medium pressure. Letting the ink soak into the paper. Pretty good. I don't mind it. So they did 3 on this card. I'm thinking probably 5, because I have a much bigger surface here in my art journal. And again, this is a handmade art journal. If you want to see how that was made, I can link you the video below. You just need to comment on my video, let me know, and I will link the video where I saw that and made my own. I would love to make another one in the future, but if you've seen a few videos ago, I have plenty of art journals to be working in. There is no need for me to make another one, not quite yet. Okay, I'm doing 5 dragonflies because we want to do an odd number, right? It's more pleasing to the eye. I think I'm going to go right here. I'm not thinking too much about it. If we think too much about it, we get stuck and we just stay in one place and we do not do. Perfectly fine. I absolutely love it. I have a little bin on the side here that I'm just going to drop my things in when I'm done using them. That way, when I get done with my creative time, I can easily clean up my area, put my things back, which is very important. If you're not putting your things back, you end up with piles and messes, and I am guilty of that too, of course. But if you don't do that, then when you get time to work, you don't have to clean up your piles and your messes, right? So something to think about, just a suggestion. Okay, next we are going to go with some watercolor background. Like I said, they have a sanded background with cardstock. I'm going to do something a little different. I have some water here. I have a big brush. This is a G-R-I-A, Artegra Intuition Quill number 6. I'm going to use favorite Giratambi. I can never say this. It is called Kirataki Gamzai watercolors. If you need that information, let me know. I'm going to go with these 2 blues for a pretty blue sky behind our dragonflies. I went for my walk today. It is absolutely gorgeous out, and I'm just going to get some paint down, mix it around with some water. I just want to color the background. This is an art journal page, remember? No problem, no thinking, just fun. Here we go, getting it down. Add some more water, spreading it out. Okay. Maybe a little of that other color, huh? Give it a little bit of different dimension. Put some water. Just go around these dragonflies real easy, real quick. I'm doing it fast and easy, right? This watercolor paper is real nice and thick. It's really soaking up the water. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. We'll continue on. I continued on for the whole next page here. I don't think I'm going to do dragonflies there, but now I have a page started, right? And I did lift off some of this watercolor with just a towel, a dry towel, because the paper and the paint was still wet, and it gave some really cool like dimension. So don't be afraid to do that. You know, do whatever is speaking to you, and that was speaking to me. So I'm going to set aside my paints to dry before I put them away, right? We never want to put away wet watercolor paints because they can mold, and that would be terrible, wouldn't it? So this is not 100% dry yet, but I'm just going to kind of analyze what was in our inspiration here. What they did in the second step, they stamped after they sanded their paper. They colored in their dragonflies with watercolor pencils, and they used purples and pinks. So I grabbed out purples and pinks watercolor pencils. I mean, not watercolor pencils, excuse me, just colored pencils. And the kind that I have are Prismacolor. There's all different kinds. There's Premier, and then regular. I've got just Premier and regular, nothing fancy. I've never really invested a lot of money in watercolor pencils. I don't use them very often, so I thought, well, this will be a perfect little way to start introducing them maybe into my art. And like I said, this is pretty wet right now, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to take my stencil, and as you can see, they used a, where is it? They used a stencil that has some flourishes on it. I'm going to use a leaf pattern like this, and they used an antique white color for the stenciling. I think I'm going to use a green, and I'm going to try maybe a green oxide, distress oxide. So I'm going to go get some supplies, and I'll be back after I dry this. All right? Hang tight. Okay, here's where we've got it. I wrapped my other side of my book, and I do that for a couple of reasons. One, if I'm using a lot of wet medium and I don't want it to go to other pages, I'll wrap both this side and this side of the book so that it doesn't get wrecked. And what I'm doing, why I'm doing it today, is because I just was being distracted by that other page. So it just covers up that page and I don't see it. So I grabbed out 2 colors of Distress Oxide ink, and these are by Ranger. I've got Crushed Olive and Peeled Paint. Now this is another product that's in my stash, and I don't use it. So today is about using things that you may have in your stash, then, you know, maybe it's time to get rid of it if we aren't using it. So I'm going to try it out today, just like I tried out, you know, doing this on different kind of paper, and, you know, we're using a stencil I haven't used in a really long time, and I'm going to use some colored pencils, which I don't use very often. So I'm going to use the Crushed Olive, and I'm going to also try this Peeled Paint and kind of blend the colors, maybe see if that works, or if it really needs to be that. I'm not sure. I'm just doing it right on the page here. I can tell you that I really like both of these colors of greens, so maybe I'm just going to incorporate both colors. I'm going to do it off camera to continue on so this doesn't get to be really, really long. And I'm not worrying about where it gets light here because I'm going to go around these with Micron pen as my thought. So I'm going to do this off camera. We'll come back. We'll do our dragonflies in some colored pencils, and we'll put a sentiment on here, do some final details, and we should have a really cool page. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Here's how my background is looking. I like it. It may have gotten a little too busy, like I could have left this out maybe, but I'm going to have a sentiment here. We'll see how it works, you know, next time. What did I learn, though? I learned that I really like using a stencil with this Distress Oxide. I had really great control. It worked really well on the watercolor paper, and I think that will be a technique that I will use again in the future for my art journaling practice. I really liked that. Okay, so now I've got my colored pencils here, and I'm going to have to run quick and get my swatch so I know what colors I have. Okay, here it is. My colored pencils are not in my color diary yet, but I emphasize yet. So I'm looking at my purples. I really love this 931. So 931, I picked it out right away. Isn't that funny? And then they did purples and like hot pink on the example here. So I think I'll follow suit with that. I like this 994. 994. Let's see. A little bit darker. 994. Nope. Well, I'll find it here. 994, 993, just a little bit lighter. Must be this one here. Nope, 325. It's real red. I'll find it anyways, and then we will go from there. 994 right here. And they have a green tail on theirs. I may just do a darker brown like this 109. I think I'll do that. These three colors will be great. I will make sure I have a pencil sharpener. And when I use colored pencils, you have to remember that the color is going to build up by wearing off on the tooth of the paper. So they're suggesting here that you use the lightest color first and finish with the darker color. That's a great tip. So I am going to go ahead and start with the lighter color. I'm going to do the whole wing, all four of them, and I'm not pushing hard. I'm just letting the colored pencil go on top of the texture of the watercolor paper or the tooth of the paper. Okay, I'm going to do one here for you, and then I will do the others off camera so that we make this video quick, because if you're watching videos, I'm happy that you're watching mine and commenting, of course, subscribing, doing all this stuff. But if you're watching videos all the time, you're not doing, right? So I always want to say, you know, it's great to watch videos, but you've got to do too. You know, you can't just continuously watch videos because then you don't get anything done, right? So I'm just kind of making up my own pattern, how I want these wings to look. I'm doing darker on two of the outer sides, the pink in the middle, and then I think I'm going to just add another layer of pink here, and I'm adding a little bit more pressure. Can you see that? Okay, and then I'm going to turn to the other darker purple, adding a little bit more pressure, making sure the pencil is coming off onto the paper. That's our whole goal, right? Back with the light. I'm going over the whole wing now with the light. And I'm going to continue on doing that for a while here. So let me move in a little bit closer for you. And I'm going to just put on some music here, and I will color for a little bit and speed this up, okay? Okay, so as I'm working on this dragonfly, I'm not getting it to blend as smoothly as I would like it. So I'm thinking, what do I have in my supplies that will make this blend better for me, how I want it to look? And the thought I came upon was Gamsol. I'm going to run and grab it, and we're going to use Gamsol on this dragonfly, and we're going to see if we can get that colored pencil to blend a little better. So here's my Gamsol. I have it in this little container, and it has a flip top, and I use a blending stump, which is made out of paper. Push down on there, and you can see it comes to the top. It's absorbing into this paper stump, and I'm going to see if I can get that Gamsol to smooth those two colors together. And as you can see, it is working exactly how I wanted it. See that? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to add a little bit of Gamsol. I'll zoom out for you here so you can see what's happening. Put it in the Gamsol. I'm going to rub it on the wax of the colored pencil, and it is kind of melting it smooth. Now, to me, that looks much better on the left than it does on the right. So, here we go. I'm going to continue on and work on my dragonflies. And the only thing I'm going to do is colored pencil in my purples and pinks, give them some design, and then I'm going to blend them with this Gamsol because I think that looks much better. Okay? If you're playing along, creating along with me, you can just let me keep going here, or go ahead and do your dragonflies like I will be doing. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, I'm back. And look at this. I think it looks really super good. So, oops, excuse me. I am having a blast. So I have to be honest with you. I really didn't feel like making this video today. I didn't feel like working in my journal. I just knew that I should. And if I did, I would feel better. And I do. I feel great now. And I can't wait to continue on. So let's recap what we did here. Sorry, just had to take some aspirin. The pollen is really, really strong today. So anyways, here was our inspiration. It was a card, had some dragonflies on it, and I kept it for many, many years. So far, we're in our art journal here. We stamped down a dragonfly that we had in our stash using our archival ink. Then we did a watercolor background with our Gansai Tombi watercolors. I think I said it right. With a big brush, let that dry. Then we used a stencil and some Distress Oxide and a makeup sponge, and we did the leaves on the back, right? Then we took 3 colored pencils in purples and hot pinks, which some of my favorites, and I colored in the dragonflies. Didn't really like the effect, so I grabbed my Gamsol and my paper stumps and I blended it out, and now I really, really like it. I can't wait to add some black to it and some white. So that's my next thing. I'm going to grab my Micron pen here, and I just grabbed a number 3. I probably would use a number 5, but I had a 3 on my desk, so that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to look at my stamp, and I'm going to kind of find the pattern that I have on my stamp, and I'm just going to loosely draw them in and loosely go around my dragonflies. I'm also thinking about going in and going around my leaves because they did do that on this piece. So I think I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to put some white on the dragonfly. We're going to put a sentiment on our page, and I think the sentiment that I was thinking of was from a stamp set by Fun Stamper's Journey. It's called Word Block. I got this at a used craft sale for $3, and there's a whole bunch of different inspirational sayings here. So my thing was work hard, dream big. That's what I'm going to put on here. Okay, I'm going to stamp it on a piece of cardstock that I have laying around. I'm going to use my archival ink. I'm going to brown the edges, and I betcha I probably brown the edges of my art journal page too. And we're going to see what it looks like at that point. Okay, so stay with me. I'm going to put music on and speed this up. You can fast forward if you want to, whatever you want to do. I will see you in a few minutes, okay?